I actually taught myself a little bit before I took a class. A lot of the girls were lost and they were discouraged because they didn't realize how hard and tedious of a task it was. It's having patience and giving yourself grace, but also don't give yourself too much grace. Like give yourself grace, but be hard on yourself. Like be your biggest critic because everybody else, I mean, especially if they're not entrepreneurs, they're going to be like, "Oh, you're doing great." And
They don't
they
understand.
don't understand that there is a lot of work that goes into entrepreneurship and you have to be disciplined. You're not going to always be motivated, but you have to put that work in if you want to get somewhere.
Hey, Lash Besties. It's Anna, your master lash artist, here in the Lash Life. We have Brittany here.
Hi, you guys. I'm Brittany LaShawn with Be Lashed On. I am an experienced esthetician and lash tech of 5 years. My Instagram name is Be Lashed On, and you can follow me there, and I will follow back.
Yes, follow her, guys. She's an amazing lash artist here in the Houston area. And we are here with Brittany because she just has so many tips and tricks on styling to share with you guys. But first, Brittany, let's talk about the very beginning because I think it's so important. And we do this all the time, guys. And we don't want to be like wah with our sad stories, right? Our struggling stories of lash artists. But I feel like it's so important for you guys to listen and hear our stories from the beginning to where we are now, because I feel like it's gonna give you a little of inspiration, because I feel like if we can do it, you can do it.
Anyone can
Definitely.
do it.
Exactly. It's just a matter of getting over that hump. So, Brittany, what got you into lashes?
So originally what got me into lashes, I was always into makeup and beauty
Yeah.
as a teenager, little girl. And I actually had a condition where I used to pull my lashes.
Uh-huh.
And so I knew how it felt to like not have any.
Yeah.
So I always, wanted to make women feel beautiful, like because I know how like, conscious we are of ourselves.
Yes.
So I got into putting on strips at first. I used to do it for my girls that in college. They used to come knock on my door and like, can you come put on my strips? Because we all know like strips are the worst.
Yes, they are.
And from there, I was in college, but I didn't have any passion for college really.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I think I thought about doing lashes for a good 5 years. So I just took that leap of faith.
Yes.
And started looking for a lash school and eventually found one. And I ended up teaching myself how to do lashes, actually.
I think a lot of us lash artists, we teach ourselves so much. Because I feel like if you want to like move ahead in the game, you can't wait for somebody to come along.
No.
You know what I mean?
You'll be waiting forever.
Yeah, and sometimes we don't have the money to take that class we really want to take.
And because those classes, like now they're a little cheaper, but at first, like 5 years ago, they were like
yes,
no cheaper than $800.
Yeah, I know. And they didn't teach you very much.
No,
You know what I mean?
didn't.
And
so
I
basic.
heard so many disappointment stories. And
So
I still
many.
do.
Yeah, me too.
I know that you're so just like iffy to even spend the money.
Right, especially because you think that taking one course is really going to teach you something, and it teaches you maybe very, very like the basics of.
Yeah.
It's really you're getting a lot of knowledge, like verbal knowledge, more than you're getting the actual like teaching the skill.
Yeah.
So I actually taught myself a little bit before I took a class.
Yeah.
So when I took my class, I wasn't so
Brand
lost.
new. Yeah. You
'cause a
kind of
lot
at least knew
were-
something.
Yeah, a lot of the girls were lost and they
Yeah.
were discouraged because they didn't realize how hard and tedious of a task it was.
Yeah. You know what? It surprises me because I do a lot of classes as well. And for people to hold tweezers in both of their hands at the same time,
Simultaneously, and you're not
it's
if you're
so
not
like
left-handed,
foreign.
it's so foreign because
Yes.
your left hand is doing a lot of the work.
Yeah.
So if you're not ambidextrous, or which means you use both of your
Yeah.
hands, it's challenging to
At the beginning, it's very challenging.
It's very challenging
And
to
I'm
get
like,
those muscles.
You're gonna grow into them. I promise you're gonna grow
Yeah,
into them,
with
because
practice.
some girls will hold them just like in this crazy way, and I'm like, no,
No, this is not like you're
like they're gonna
that.
eat, like they're gonna eat, and I'm just like, no. Or they just have them like tucked in under their hands, and I'm like, they're actually kind of like a pencil.
It's kind of like a pen. Yeah, it's kind of
Yeah.
like writing in both hands.
Yes, and they're like, I'm gonna have to use both of these, and I'm like, just start squeezing them like this, back and forth, so you can kind of get some muscle movement in there. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
your muscles have to remember,
Yes.
and it's not just holding it, but like the grip, how
Yeah.
tight, how loose.
Using at the same time,
Using
using
them
both
at
of
the
your
same time,
hands.
you can feel like the thickness of a hair through the pinch of a tweezer
Yeah.
through your wrist. Honestly, it becomes so
Natural to you.
natural to you. You become like one
Yeah.
with your tweezers
It really
eventually.
does. But yes, so you took a class.
Mm-hmm.
You self-taught yourself a little bit.
Yes.
Took a class.
Mm-hmm.
And then like it just took off, or tell me what
Well,
happened.
okay, so I had a job at I was working at Red Lobster. That was my
Uh-huh.
last job in 2018. And I was so tired of getting told by what to do by the managers. But I had already started teaching myself and like taking some clients at that time, but I wasn't like so serious about it,
Yeah.
you know? So one day I just got fed up at work and I put in my 2 weeks notice on the back of a napkin.
And that's the first time I've heard that on the back of a napkin.
On the
I gave
back
my
of a
2 weeks
napkin.
notice.
I did. I was just like, you know what? I cannot deal with these people anymore. So I went home, the next day or two, they called me and were like, well, you don't have to come back. And I was so upset because I'm like, I needed these 2 weeks to figure out what I was going to do next,
I know.
But I was like, God said that you don't like, he's not giving you extra 2 weeks. So you need to start figuring it out right now. So for those 2 weeks or whatever, I was scrambling. I started practicing more and just trying to figure out how can I bring in a clientele. I really started just practicing the skill though more than anything. And I was like, I was saying that I needed models or something like that, but I don't think I was doing it right. So I came across this girl who was doing makeup and she put out a model post. And the way she did it, it was so, intriguing. It made me want to DM her. Like,
what did she post?
I don't know. She was just like, I need like 3 models for these kind of looks. And it was just something that I was like, okay, yeah. And she does really good makeup. So I was like, well, of course I would want to be a model. I thought it was going to be for free, but it wasn't. But it was a highly discounted, face makeup, beat or whatever. So the way she reeled me in, I was like, I can reel people in like that. So I made a flyer, cute little flyer, saying that I needed models. I had certain requirements for those models. I needed like 5 models. I did like 5 different sets. The requirements to be my model was you had to post me, tag me on your page, on your story, and basically get people to come to get their lashes done by me.
Right.
And within those 5 girls, I did. Baby, it took off so crazy. It was about a month or two. Like, so I quit my job September. September was a struggle. October was a little bit of a struggle, but the holidays were coming up. So November hit and then Christmas hit.
Those are busy seasons,
And
guys.
I started making like $400 a day.
Wow, that's amazing.
It was amazing.
I know, it is amazing the money you can make.
Yeah, it was amazing because I knew I could do it, but I mean, it started happening right in front of my eyes. I manifested it. So that was the beginning of my Lash journey. And then I actually left a couple months after I left Houston a couple months after I started building that clientele, which it's kind of a bittersweet thing. I'm really happy that I left. I left the state. I went to Las Vegas and went to esthetician school there.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was amazing.
What made you want to take that leap and just go to a different state?
Well, really, it was like a lot of personal, like family things going on. And I felt like I just needed to separate from them and get to know myself.
That I think a lot of people need to do that, and they just don't take the leap.
They don't because it's scary.
Yeah, it is very scary to be away from everything familiar.
Everything familiar. And I was so tired of everything familiar. So I just needed to get away and see like what I could do for myself.
That's so inspiring. Now everybody's just going to find themselves.
Yeah.
You just inspired everybody to go find themselves.
I really recommend it. I really, really do. So when I left, January 2019, I was so devastated. I was leaving all my clients. I was leaving a new business. I was leaving my family. I literally cried for like 2 or 3 weeks when I first got there, maybe the first week. Yeah. But then I was like, you know what? I gotta figure it out. So
I gotta recollect self.
Right. Yeah. So I already knew that I had a plan, and I just stuck to it. I had to come back to Houston for a little bit, save some more money. And then I went back to Vegas, and I already knew what school I was going to.
Yeah.
So I just took the steps to start getting my financial aid in order.
That's so cool.
It was so crazy. I had already like went to school prior to this, going to esthetician school. So I already had like loans and stuff that were out, and I
Right.
thought I was going to have to start paying stuff back.
Yeah.
I don't know what this lady did when I went to go see the financial advisor at the
Yeah.
esthetician school. My whole school was paid for.
Yeah.
She got
I
grants,
know.
enough grants for me to like not have to
Yeah.
pay anything back.
It's possible.
It was
Like it is very
it's
possible for you to
possible,
go to cosmetology school like free of charge.
free of charge.
Yeah, these financial aid advisors,
They
they are amazing.
amazing,
Yeah.
amazing. She was an angel. I came
Mhm.
in her office boohoo crying. She figured out what to do
Oh,
for me.
that's good.
And I swear, when I started school, I went back like a month later to thank her, and she was gone. She was like a little angel,
Yeah,
right?
honestly.
Crazy.
Where are you?
Where are you, lady? But yeah, so that was like the beginning of my journey. My esthetician program was 11 months out there.
Uh-huh.
So I had an apartment. I had about a 14-month lease. So I would fly back every like 2 to 3, maybe 4 weeks from Vegas to Houston and work on the weekend with the clients that I had already, and I was still building. And so that helped me pay for my
Yeah.
boarding while I was in Vegas,
Right.
and helped me still have a clientele out here.
Yeah. That's so amazing for you to be able to fly over to a state and just make money for a few days and then
Hmm.
fly back to where you want to live.
Yes,
You know
and
what I
then I
mean?
went to school for.
That's amazing.
Yes, it was honestly, I feel like I did not take advantage of it as much as I should have.
Yeah.
That's one thing I can give advice on, is take advantage of the opportunities that are presented to you while you
Yes.
have them. Take total advantage of them,
Uh-huh.
because after time will go, and then you'll realize how blessed you were in certain situations.
Exactly.
It's not about money all the time, how much money
Yeah.
you have, or the car you're driving, or the purse
No.
you have. It's really about the position you're in, and the
Yes.
people that you have access to, and the
Absolutely.
opportunities you have access to. So just learning to take advantage of things like while you have them is something that I'm still learning, but I've learned.
I think we're still learning a lot of things,
Yes, yes.
and I agree with you. At some point, I was so overwhelmed with clients that I was feeling bad about it. You know what I mean?
Mhm, mhm.
And then when slow times came
You're like,
around,
where are all my clients back?
yes, and I'm like, I
I
should have
need
just
them.
worked them all.
I
You know what
should
I
have
mean?
just been tired.
Yeah, I know.
Like who's like yeah, like who's complaining about being booked and busy,
Yes,
really? Like
I know.
because
I know.
now, when there comes a time when you're not booked and busy, you're like, where are all my clients, or where did
I
everything go?
know. Summer killed me a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I felt like everybody kind of struggled in the summer.
Yes.
Maybe some not as bad as others, but I know at our studio, we kind of slowed down where when we were working like 9 to 8 most of the days.
Mhm.
And then we were just kind of like having 2 really busy days, and the rest of the days where you were just kind of like,
Yes.
what are we doing?
Yes.
And now we're getting busy again. And I'm like, oh, that must have killed a lot of lash artists and just not give them any hope. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And those are the
Mhm.
times you gotta that's why you gotta take advantage, like you
Yes.
said, for what you have in front of you. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And sometimes we don't do that. We don't do that, and
Yeah.
we should.
Yeah, I've actually been experiencing the like it's slowed down.
Mhm.
So, and it's a little discouraging, but I just know that God didn't bring me all the way here
Yes.
to quit.
Yes.
So
So
I
inspiring.
have to keep going. I have to keep
Absolutely.
brainstorming ideas and
Mhm.
ways to bring that traffic to my page and
Absolutely.
into my company. So it does get a little hard sometimes as an entrepreneur, but I
Yes.
think staying faithful and really putting God first is
Yeah.
key and
And
priority.
absolutely, I totally agree with you. I also think that thinking it out and having a plan, you know what I mean?
Yes,
Because
having a plan.
don't forget that being a lash artist, most of the time we work for ourselves. And so there are some days, like you said, you would make $400 a day.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's days we have like one client.
One client,
You
you're
know what I mean?
making $80 for a refill or
So, yeah,
something.
you
Yeah.
need to kind of just stretch that out for those slow days
Yeah.
and not get like money happy. You're like, oh my God, I'm making all this money. Oh, spending,
Oh,
spending, spending,
yeah, like,
spending.
"Oh, Imma make it back, Imma make it
I'm
back."
gonna make it back, and that happens to us
It
sometimes.
does, it
When we're
does.
like, I'm gonna make it back tomorrow.
Yeah.
Friday, I'm gonna make that all back that I just spent, and then what if that week is a week where it slows down?
Right,
And you're
or
like,
something
oh my
happens
God.
to you personally, you have an emergency and you
Yes.
can't make that money back, so
Exactly.
it definitely being disciplined in the money flow, the cash flow, saving for rainy days,
Yeah.
and, constantly reinvesting in your business so
Hmm.
it can grow, whether it's marketing or finding new products
Yeah.
or, just finding ways to just grow,
Yes.
honestly.
That's
That should be
amazing.
the main goal and the main focus as a business owner is just constantly like reinvesting in
Yeah.
your business and
Absolutely.
saving for rainy days for sure.
Absolutely. I think that a lot of lash artists don't realize that one day we may not be able to lash anymore. You know
Yes,
what I mean?
yeah, because it's a very physical thing. Like it's
Yes.
physical on your neck, on your
Your
back, your
eyes.
shoulders, your eyes, your
Yeah,
hands.
I know.
Sometimes my hands, I find them going numb.
Me too.
My shoulders, I get like really sharp pains. So,
Mhm.
taking care of yourself too, as well as a
Yes,
lash artist,
taking
getting
care of
those
yourself.
massages and
Yeah.
exercising, stretching, all
Yes,
those things are important.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So you were in Vegas, you
Mhm.
were flying back to see clients, you
Mhm.
were paying your apartment, you were going to school,
Mhm.
and then what happened?
So I graduated esthetician school March 5th, 2020.
Mhm.
So we all know what happened in 2020, March 2020. Literally 10 days before or after I graduated, the pandemic hit. And
I hated that.
right, it was the craziest time. Now, I didn't have a studio, so which was a blessing because I was still like
Oh
living
my
out there or
God. I
working out
can't
here.
imagine those people that had
They had
studios.
studios, and then all of a sudden their stuff gets locked up in there, and there's no way for them to get it out.
Yeah,
Um,
that's crazy.
that's crazy. So luckily that wasn't my situation.
Yeah.
I was able to still work, so I really gained a clientele
Yeah.
at that time. Um, so yeah, I was just working from 2020. I moved back from Vegas.
Hmm.
I had a lot of like personal things happen in that during that time.
Hmm.
So it was a lot. It was just a lot going on. I ended up
Yeah.
getting my own studio maybe like January 2021. That was
Uh-huh.
my first studio.
Yeah.
And I got a brand ambassador and
Oh, that's cool.
we really built my business and my clientele up
That's
crazy.
amazing.
Yeah, that was a good year. Those were really good years. So since then, I've just been working, building my clientele. Now I'm looking to start my own product line. I feel like I kind of got burnt out a little bit for a minute.
Yeah, you can get burned
I got
out.
burnt out for a minute, so I feel like I'm just now getting like my momentum and my
Yes.
drive and my discipline and motivation
Yeah.
back.
Hmm.
So that's where I'm at with it now. Now I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm back.
Yes.
I need to get this product line going.
Yeah.
I need to get my brand ambassadors back. A lot. Oh, my brand ambassadors moved 2021, so that kind of
Um,
it hurt me a little bit.
aw.
They were really really good to me, but it's okay. I feel like it's all a learning experience
It is.
for me.
It really is. Everything is a learning experience. Everything that we experience.
Everything that we experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. It's a learning experience. So, just getting my focus and drive back right now is where I'm at. Like, just being consistent and
Yeah.
disciplined.
Yeah. I think that lash artist burnout is real and it
Hmm.
happens more than you think.
Yes.
And like I was saying earlier, like we don't want to be ungrateful, but when we're super busy, that's definitely a time when we get burned out.
Yeah.
We want to accommodate everyone, and we try to accommodate everyone because we want the money, right? When we're starting out, we're
Right.
just like, if I say no, she's never gonna come back. You know
Right.
what I
So
mean?
you just
Yeah,
wanna
and you
accept
burn
everything and
yourself
everybody.
out.
Hmm.
And it's fine if you absolutely need the money, if you absolutely need the customers, but find a good place and try to disconnect sometimes. Even if you take a Wednesday off, you know what
Right.
I mean? Like you want
Hmm.
to take them as they come in, but take that one day off and just like think about you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even if it's getting your own lashes done or just a day of you laying on the couch watching Netflix all day or
Yeah.
Amazon or whatever you're doing, to disconnect. And I learned that super late, but it has definitely helped. There is a really good friend of mine. She's in her 70s. I hope she's in her 70s. I hope I'm not saying that wrong. Johnson.
Uh-huh.
She's an amazing instructor. She's done nails for years. She had her own salon, and then
Mm-hmm.
now she just retired and just teaches
Mm-hmm.
full time, and she enjoys it.
Mm-hmm.
And she taught me that. She's like, I'm a workaholic. I really am. I'm a workaholic. If I'm not at the salon, I'm doing something somewhere else related to lashes, but I'm always working. And I told her, "Oh, Miss Johnson, like, oh, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm just so tired. Like, my mind, like, I can't sleep. I'm just thinking about work." And she looked at me. She's like, "Honey, you need to disconnect. You
Mm-hmm.
need to disconnect.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do when you get home? When I get home, like, I'm always like doing this and I'm doing that, and I can't stop thinking about work. And then I have to get." And she's like, "You need to stop." And she's like, "Find yourself a good show to watch, because when you're watching that show, you're disconnecting.
Yeah.
You're not thinking about work. You're thinking about like what's gonna happen next. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm gonna try that, because I did watch TV here and there, but it was just like I didn't watch very much of it because I'm always thinking about what's the next move.
For work.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's like, oh my god, how many clients do I have tomorrow? Oh my god, it's always
Yeah,
something.
like, oh yeah, just what can I
Yeah.
post? Let me edit this
Yes.
video. Let me edit this content.
Yes.
And that takes hours.
Yes.
Honestly, it takes a lot of time. So,
And people see you on your phone and they think you're BSing, but you're really working.
but you're
You know what
really
I mean?
working. Yeah.
And so I did that. I disconnected and I'm like, I am going to find a show to watch and I'm going to binge watch it. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
I'm going to watch it every single night at this time. And it really did help me get a little bit better sleep and disconnect from work.
So
Because,
you're not always just
yeah, because as an entrepreneur, you're always thinking,
about what's
people
next.
think that when you work for yourself, you're like, oh, I have this freedom. And that's true to an extent, but you're really just working all the time,
All the time. You're
randomly.
even when you're not like physically, your
Yeah.
brain is working. It's thinking
Yeah.
about what could be better, what could
Yes.
be next.
And because we work for ourselves and we're randomly working like different hours, it could be 3 a.m. You're like, oh my God, I got an idea. I got to, you know
Yeah,
what I
let me
mean?
write this down.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't understand the 9 to 5 mindset anymore.
No, there is no 9 to 5 mindset.
Like, I remember texting somebody and they're like, hey, girl, I'm already off the clock. And I'm like, huh? Who's off the clock?
Who's off the clock? But you know what? I was like that until I called this girl. I called this girl one time. She owned her own business too. In Florida. I wanted to do a pop-up shop at her like grand opening or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was around 9 p.m. And I called her and she was like, "Why are you calling me about business at 9 p.m.?" And I was like,
that would be me.
"What?" I was like, because, but then it kind of put me in check. It kind of put me in line.
Yes,
Like, you know
you're
what?
right. You're
She
right.
has discipline with her business,
Yes.
and her business is very successful.
That's amazing.
So it's not that she was really being rude. It was really about being respectful of the business hours and the time.
Yes.
I'm working from these times.
I
from
hear
this
that
time.
a lot. You know what I mean? And I wish I could learn that, but my mind just goes like 1,000 miles per hour.
It feels like, no, I need
You
to
know what I
answer
mean?
this call. I need to.
Yeah, my mind just goes 1,000 miles per hour, and I hate procrastinating. That I just want to get things done now. I wish I had the discipline to be like, I'm not answering my phone once I get home, but I'm just like so curious. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, yeah, because you're like, what is this opportunity? What
Yeah.
if I don't answer right now and then
Yeah, I know.
they don't answer to tomorrow?
Yeah.
Like it does get
I
like
need
that.
that discipline.
But for sure, what's for you is not gonna miss you.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
That's very true.
Because
That's
even
very, very true.
today, I think they wrote me last night, and I did not see it. And or they wrote me this morning and I didn't see it. I don't remember. But whenever I did see it, I was like, OMG, like, are you still? And they're like, yeah, can you come at 12 or 1?
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh wow, I thought I missed it,
No.
So, but I'm not. Obviously,
That's
I'm
amazing.
here.
Yeah, what is for you is for you,
What is
for sure.
For sure.
But it also depends on your hard work.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
A lot of people are like, I've already got the license. I've already got the supplies. How come I don't have any customers? It's like, what are you doing to get customers?
You have to put in that work. You have to really be humble and creative and consistent.
Definitely.
Right now, social media
Consistency.
is marketing, like,
Yeah.
but not just social media. Like, you can go get out there and talk to people, handing out business
Yes,
cards in the
absolutely.
mall, doing pop-up shops so people can actually just come see. Like, even if you're not offering the service at your pop-up shop, you can be offering little products. Like for lashes, you could do
Yeah.
lash washes and
Yeah, you can offer a lot of different
little
things.
strips or stuff like that.
For sure.
Just getting out there, putting yourself out there, and not feeling like you're too proud or your
Yeah.
ego is too big to put
Right.
yourself out there.
So once you graduated, how did you put yourself out there?
I feel like I was already kind of like I did a lot of networking in pop-up shops before I even graduated
Oh, okay.
esthetician school. I had started a skincare line first
Okay,
before
cool.
I did lash extensions. So I was already doing a lot of pop-up shops, and
Yeah.
people already knew me as like an entrepreneur before I even started doing
Yeah.
lashes and before I graduated.
So they knew you through your products already. So if they have a trusted product, they're like, oh, okay, lashes, all right then.
Yeah, like it goes hand in hand. Okay, she
Yeah,
does skincare. Now
definitely.
she's doing lashes. That was
Yeah,
my main thing. Like skincare and
that's cool.
lashes is like all you need.
Yeah. So, Brittany, I know that you're really big into styling,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Because let's be real, there's a lot of lash techs, but there's not a lot of lash artists,
Artist.
right? And that goes
She
hand
knows what
in
she's talking
hand,
about.
right?
Yeah.
And let me tell you guys something. Not everybody, you can't give everybody a cat eye.
No.
You can't give everybody a doll eye.
Or a D curl.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
when I first started, I started many, many years ago. I feel so old. This was like 12 years ago.
Mhm.
I just gave everybody a natural set. Like all I was taught was classic, and I was taught to follow the natural lash.
Lash line.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So if it was short, I'm giving you a short one. If it was long, I'm going to put a long one. So it almost always most people have like a doll eye naturally.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It
Mhm.
kind of goes shorter on the outer and inner corner
Corners,
and
longer
longer.
in the
Yeah.
middle, and then
And that's what I
shorter.
was taught to give everybody.
Mhm.
But I'm not enhancing anybody's features.
No.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And there's a lot of good, skilled lash techs, but they don't know how to style.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about that.
So, I don't know, when I first started doing lashes, the class I took gave me a chart, like a styling chart, like
Yeah.
kitten, doll eye, cat eye, open
Yeah.
eye, stuff like that. So that was my main thing. I actually made sure, like when I was trying to build my clientele, I got 5 different girls to model for me that had different eye shapes, and I did those eye shapes on different people. And I feel like that kind of forced me to be a styler, because people would come and want that exact look
It's a
that
really
they
good
saw
idea.
on that person. Excuse me, I have a little cough. But um and then realizing like that everybody, I don't know, couldn't use everything. I also was into using different curls when I first
Yeah.
started. So noticing that like C curl, doing a C curl cat eye looks different than a D curl
Yes,
cat eye.
exactly.
And that forced me also to start using like different curls
Yeah.
for different people.
I know.
And then just seeing the different shapes on people's eyes, or the different
Yeah.
maps on different people on people's eyes, and how it came out is what really like got me into styling and
Right.
mapping. So I've actually always like to like look at my client first,
Yeah.
in their eyes, to make
Mhm.
sure I can see like, okay, is it, drooping? Is it
Right.
up? Are they slanted? Then
Is it more
is it
rounded?
more
Yeah.
round? Yeah. Then I'm
Mhm.
always asking the client, like, what do they like? What do they normally get? Some of them usually use like the same type of strip or something like
Yeah.
that. And I always ask for pictures, and then I can go in with my pencil once I'm done like taping, or my marker once I'm done
Uh-huh.
taping, and I go in and I mark which sizes I want in different areas. So yeah, I think that's what sets me apart, because I do custom lash sets. Like
Yes,
everything isn't
that's
the
what I
same for
always say.
everybody.
I always say that you're always going to do a custom lash set if you know how to style.
Yes.
Now, however, there are some, because it happens to me a lot, where I tell a client, I really think that a doll eye would really look good on you with these lengths. And they're like, I just want a cat eye. I want it to look
I would,
really long.
right at
And
the
I'm just
end.
like, okay. You
Right.
know what I mean?
If that's what you want,
Yeah.
you know.
And I'm just like, dang, I could have, this is an opportunity to really like
Show
showcase
her
my
like
skills.
I can do
Yeah.
something better than
But
that.
if that's what they want, sometimes you just have to give it to them. But very important to know what looks good on them.
Yeah.
Because I have clients that come from other places and they're like, I always get a cat eye.
And you're like, I think this might look better
Yeah,
on you.
and they insist on getting that cat eye again. And then the next time I'm like, I really think that the doll is really
Really,
gonna make a difference on you. I really think so. Can you think I can do it this
just
time?
trust me.
Yeah.
And it's all about trial and error.
Yes.
Like if a client really is for you, they're gonna let you
Yes.
figure out what's best for them.
Yeah.
And it might not be the first time,
Mhm.
but after the second or third time of between,
Yes.
because lengths as well. Let's not
Yeah.
just get into styling. Styling is not just about the shape of the
It's the
lash, it's also the
length,
length
the
and the curls
curl.
and the width.
Yes.
Not everyone can use 07 or not everyone can use 05. If she has 1,000 lashes on each eye and they're thick and they're full, using 05 and 03, it, to me, is on every single lash is a little bit crazy because it's going to give a really dark, full um, lash line.
Like
And not
instead of giving them a light volume, you're giving them like a mega
a
volume.
mega volume, and that's crazy.
Yeah,
You know, it's kind
I
of
know.
not everything is for everybody. So learning what curls,
To work
what
with different,
widths,
yeah,
what
absolutely.
lengths to use is also important.
It's a common mistake with beginner lash artists.
Mm-hmm.
I know it happened to me a long time ago. I went from jars of lashes that I had to use. I don't even know what
The
curl they
pre-made?
were. No.
Oh,
When I learned like 13 years ago, girl, we didn't have trays.
uh-huh.
We had pots with loose lashes inside, and we had to
No.
figure out the base hairs.
A
And
whole bunch of hairs.
yes, and we had a sponge, and with our tweezers, we had to put a bunch of loose hairs on the sponge, and then find the base, turn them the right direction. It took us
So
forever.
wait, were they fans already made?
No.
No, they were just a bunch of loose hairs. Like
Yes.
how the hairs are on a
Yes.
strip?
And if I wanted to make a little bit more than a classic set, I had to attach another classic on this side and another. So it would probably be like a 3D, the max.
That's where that 3D and stuff
Yes.
comes from.
Uh-huh. That's what we had to do.
Because now it's kind of like I'm not counting the hairs.
And I promise
in
you,
my
I don't even
fans.
remember what curl it said on there. It probably didn't even say a curl. It probably just said a diameter and a
Yeah.
length.
Yeah.
And then
That is so crazy.
yes, it was difficult, and that's why now I'm like the lash trays. I'm just like, okay, you guys are complaining too much. You know?
No, for real. Okay,
Because
if
the
they
pot-
were in a jar, the
Yes.
hairs, just a whole bunch of hairs in a
Yeah.
jar, and you just had to pick out like individual hairs.
I had to like
So
just
it's basically like finding a needle in a haystack.
yeah, I had to put a bunch of them on a sponge, and so that I'm able to pick them up with my tweezer. Because if I put them on
Yeah.
a flat surface,
No,
I would never be able to
you
pick
would
them
be
up. It's like using your nails to try to pick something up from the
yeah.
ground.
No, you need the sponge so you can kind of like dip underneath
Yes,
the hair.
and turn it the right direction, dip it into your glue, and
this
then
is
attach it.
crazy.
Yeah, that was back then.
Crazy work.
A lot of crazy work. So I don't even know what curl I was using.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Nobody taught me styling. They were just
Yeah.
like, just match up the lengths, and I'm like, okay. And so then after that, when I got introduced to trays, D was like my favorite thing to do on everybody.
Right.
And I didn't know any better.
Right.
Because nobody taught me that, you know? And I was just like, D curl for this, D curl for that, D curl for, anything was D curl. And then I started playing with different curls.
Different curls.
And
yeah.
I was just like, oh my God.
Because you
this
might
is
run out
so
one day.
cool.
And you're
Yeah.
like, I gotta do something.
Yes.
And then you're like,
Exactly.
That's kind of cute.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I started doing textured sets. And I was like, oh,
where you mix the
God.
different curls.
Yes, by accident.
Yeah, by
You know what I-
accident.
you started-
and you're like,
yeah.
ooh, like you notice the dimension in
Yes.
in a set. It looks
Exactly.
3D.
And so you kind of start teaching yourself, like,
Okay,
you
yeah,
start picking
so-
things up.
Yeah, I'm gonna mix the C
Yeah.
and D. I'm gonna put, and then I'll put D at the end. I'll
Yes.
put C at the front.
And then I was giving everybody a cat eye because that's the only thing I knew, because what I was taught was just to match everything up. And so then I was like, ooh, cat eye, I want to do that. That's more like an eyeliner look,
Mhm.
It wasn't I wasn't using like really long lengths, but it looked really cool. And then I was just like, that don't look right. And some people it was just like,
because it'd be droopy.
yes.
Or their eyes are shaped kind of like round,
Yes.
so you're putting
I
a cat eye,
know.
and it's like not even sitting on their eye.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
so
just like,
I
huh?
think styling and mapping, it just comes all with trial and error.
It
You start
does.
realizing that everything doesn't look good on everybody, and
Yeah.
so you just start switching it up.
Mhm.
Researching other lash artists as well that are more advanced than me helped me
Yes,
mapping it with mapping and
exactly.
styling. When I
Mhm.
first began, I would be mimicking. I would like find a muse or find a lash artist that I wanted to be like, or I liked her work, and I would try to mimic like what she did on one of her
Yes,
clients, on some of my
exactly.
clients
I would do
had
that too.
similar eye shapes like
Mhm.
as them. So that helped me as well. And now that's like one of my specialties is
Yeah.
like custom lash styling.
There are so many there's so much free information on the internet. There really is.
All the information is on the internet.
Yes.
Honestly, if you look hard enough,
Yeah.
you will find it.
I tell people all the time, like, there's like millions of mappings on the internet for free. If you
Yeah.
Google mappings, lash maps,
They're all over. They show you
Yeah.
in the reels. They have the numbers and everything
yeah,
on there.
absolutely.
Exactly where they put it in each
Mhm.
sectioning off your eyes and knowing like what curl looks better at what place on the eye is also
Yes.
part of styling and
That is very
mapping.
true.
Like don't put double D in the beginning of the
Oh my
eye.
God. I did that long time ago. And I
It
was
was
just
all
like,
rolled up in the front,
yeah.
right?
It's like it touches every
It,
time they open, they're like,
yeah, they're like, they're gonna pull it off themselves,
yeah,
right?
it's
So
gonna bother them the whole time because I remember a long time ago when I finally got introduced to double D, I was like, oh my God, even curlier? Oh,
it's
it's
even
so
yeah.
cool. And so I did a set and I told this girl, I have D because that's what I was using, and
Mm-hmm.
I have double D. Which one do you want? This one's really curly. And she's like, I want that one, really
Yeah.
curly.
Yeah.
And I
So
was
she
like,
thought
okay, cool. And so I gave her that really curly set, but every time she would open her eyes, it would hit the back of her lid.
her lid because
You
it'd
know what
be
I mean?
so curled up.
And
Yes.
she never said anything, but she never came back either, you know? She never came back. And I'm just like,
Yes.
maybe I shouldn't have suggested double D. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of reasons why you should use double D.
No, really, there really isn't.
Yeah.
Maybe for a spike to make it like
Yeah.
if you're doing wispy and that's
Because
like
they're longer
because they're longer and they're curlier
and they're not going to hit the back of the lid.
right.
A shorter D will hit the back
We'll
of the
hit the
lid
back
so
of the
fast.
yes, yes.
Especially if they have that monolid or they have a little extra skin here, you
Yeah,
know? If
mhm.
they're more mature women, they have that extra little skin here
right,
on
that
the
might be a
brow
little.
bone.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just going to touch every single time. And it's going to get so annoying.
Yeah, I'm not a double D girl at
Yeah,
all.
I'm not either.
C, C, D are pretty much what
Yeah.
are pretty much good for me. Are universal
Yeah,
for everybody.
exactly.
DD is a little crazy, but some people I feel like different vendors, their D's and their C's are
They
different.
are.
You know.
The lash supply for sure is in between.
Mhm.
If you've noticed, C is in between C and CC. CC is in between CC and D
Mhm.
with other vendors.
Mhm.
The lash supply curls are just a little tiny bit tighter, so I lash down on my curls.
I feel like they're a little tight, depending on which ones you like. The
Mhm.
.05,
Yeah.
they're a little. Compared to the .03,
More relaxed?
they're a little bit more relaxed
Yeah.
than the .03. The .03
Are a little bit more
are a
tighter.
little more
Yeah,
tighter. Yes,
you're right.
yes,
You're absolutely right.
yes,
And that's why it's important to always use the same lash vendor.
yes.
Because you can't mix and match
You,
because their links sometimes are longer or shorter.
yes. So
Yeah.
so you can use different like curls for this with the same vendor, but when you switch vendors, it's kind of now you're playing with fire.
Yeah, it's happened to me.
You're using their 14 and C and their 14C
Yeah.
are like probably totally one might look
Absolutely.
totally different than the other.
So one time I was lashing, this was many, many years ago. I was lashing somebody and I was like, oh shit, I ran out of 12s. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking through my stuff while I have the client with her eyes closed and I'm like, oh, I found these 12s from a different lash vendor.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, they were longer.
Oh wow. So one
And so I was like,
the
what do
eyes
I
were
do?
not
What
they
do I do? Like,
mhm.
I couldn't figure out what to do. So I started trying to remove some from this side
So you can kind of
so
make
I
it
can
look
spread them
even.
out. Yeah, so I can like mix them and spread them out so I can make them look even. It was a headache. And that's when I realized not
No,
all of them are the
oh,
same.
the same. Yeah, no,
You know what I
they're
mean?
not. Mm-hmm.
And you don't really pay attention to those things when you start out. You're like, oh, I got 12s, 12s, 13, 14s, 14s, and this brand and this brand and this brand. Oh, these are so
They're-
pretty. But you never look at them side by side like this and compare the
see
curl.
The curl, yeah,
the
'cause
length.
one might be a little this,
Yeah.
one might be like this, one
Yes.
might be this one.
And that definitely affects your styling because
sure.
if you buy the wrong curl, you're buying the right curl, but you're getting the wrong curl for your
For your
style.
style, yes, because
Yes.
it's a different vendor. So
Uh-huh.
sticking to one vendor and knowing if you're gonna switch it up and use a different vendor, definitely use a model first and like
Yes.
just so you can see for yourself
Yeah.
what these curls actually do. If the C is
Yeah,
actually C,
for
is the
sure.
D actually D? And using a marker to mark like your sections on your lashes when you're lashing and mapping, putting it on the iPad or the tape
Mhm.
on the bottom is also a big part in mapping and styling because
Yes.
symmetry is big
It
in the
really
lash industry. Like
is.
that's what's gonna set you apart from
Mhm.
like an okay lash artist to a great lash artist.
Absolutely.
If both of your clients' eyes are pretty much identical,
Yeah.
that says a lot about like how neat your work is and
How clean.
how clean it is, and your mapping and styling. If you're
It's on
actually
point.
taking
Yeah,
like
it's
the
on point.
time out to
Right.
make sure that
Um,
your
and
eyes
I
are
struggled
identical.
with that a lot
Yeah.
because I was not taught mapping.
In the beginning, I did too.
Yeah.
I mean, just putting them on there was a
Yeah.
win, right?
Yeah.
But
I know.
as you advance, you realize, okay, no,
Yes.
this eye can't look like this. This eye
Absolutely.
can't look like this. You want them to both look the
Right.
same.
And I had to force myself to use maps because I was just kind of doing my cat eyes.
Just, yeah.
And then when I would take pictures, I'm like,
This one might be a little more than
or
this one.
in the middle of a set, I'm like, oh shit.
Where am I? What did I put right here?
Yeah,
What curl is this?
exactly. I'm like,
Also,
oh shoot.
marking. So I like to put all my like lash strips on one tile,
Uh-huh.
and like different curls. I'll do C, D,
Yes.
and CC on one
too.
tile, but I mark my strips so I know which strip is C, which strip is
Yes.
CC, which one is D.
Exactly.
Because when you're lashing, and then you might go back and forget. Oh wait, which strip was D? You might have two 14s on there. One was C and one is CC,
Yes.
and you might forget which one is C or CC. So just like
Yeah.
marking your lash strips so you know which curl is which, like while it's on your tile.
She's saying that, guys, that she used multiple on her same towel because you can use multiple curls on one set.
Yes.
Okay. And it makes a big difference.
Big difference. It makes it, to me, like more natural.
Yeah.
It's part of, it just makes it more sexy. I don't know.
It just depends what look you're going for.
Yeah.
Like for example, if you want a really tight curl on the end but more relaxed on the inside corner, you don't have to use CC all the way throughout. You can use a B, go up to C, and then go up to CC, and you can get that like really lifted effect at the very end.
Yeah, really nice, like a liner look.
Definitely. So don't just use the same curl for everything
all throughout the
set.
set.
Like, you know, there's a set that I really like to do. I like to do this doll eye set where I use a C curl on both the outside corner but a CC on the center. And it just looks so beautiful.
Yeah.
And I just feel like the curl is just so like relaxed on both ends, and then it's just so lifted at the top so it makes the eye just extend and look bigger.
Yes.
And I love that, and I feel like you guys have to dig in and just start using and playing with different curls and see what that looks like, because you're going to be like addicted to it.
Yeah, you're going to be so addicted to it, and it's just going to enhance your lash game so much more.
What's one of your favorite sets that you do with different curls?
I love doing wispy sets with different curls.
Oh, yes. I love that too. Yes.
Different curls.
Only I would get excited about that.
Yeah, I love it.
Lash checks. Like, I love that.
I love using like the C in the front, and then I will go up to CC kind of like in the middle. I'll do D at the end. I use like my D's for my spikes in the middle.
Yes.
I might use a CC for a spike in the front. So yeah, doing my wispies with different like
Do you have any tutorials on your page or anything?
Yes, I do.
Oh my God, that's going to be amazing, guys. You guys got to go check that out.
Check it out. I have so much content on my page, you guys. From
what page do you have content on?
Be lashed on. So B as in boy dot lashed LASHED dot ON.
Is that your Instagram?
That's my Instagram.
Okay, so go to her Instagram, guys, and check that out. Tell me when you discovered styling.
I would say,
like, where were you? What were you doing that you were like, you just had this epiphany, like, what?
I'm gonna say when I met this girl at the Lash Supply. It was how many months? It was a couple months after I started lashing. Not even a year just yet. I followed her page, and I just loved her sets. I mean, they were so beautiful.
Would she post like what she used?
Yeah, did she really post what she used? I don't remember if she posted what she used. I think she did. I think she did. Like I would look in her captions, and she would say like what curls and like lengths she would use. So from there, I would start like kind of mimicking some of the sets on hers that I really liked. And that's what got me into mapping and styling. So, like, in the beginning, I was really about mapping and styling.
That's so awesome.
Like, I did. I started off like, when even the class I took, like I said, they gave me that paper that had different maps and styles on there. So, I was kind of into it at first when I first started. I just yeah, just practicing on different girls and like seeing their eye shapes
That's
and
really
stuff
cool. I think
also.
that's a really good idea. Practicing on different models. When I was teaching the lash extension licensing class at a cosmetology school in Houston, I did that with my girls. Like I would start from the very beginning to the very end of them lashing models, and I would be like, okay, let's go ahead and do a consult.
Yeah.
And then I would say, so what curl are you going to use? What mapping are you going to use? Do you think that really fits their eye shape?
Mhm.
And they'd be like, well, I'm thinking of doing like a more natural eye because blah blah blah. Or I think I'm gonna do shorter lengths, and I'm like, do you think that's appropriate for how is that gonna make it look? And that's very important for you to get that information because then you're just gonna be doing. It's like the blind leading the blind. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Right.
Oh, I always say it. It's like the blind leading the blind, girl. You take a class and it's the blind leading the blind. Like, get the right information because, like you said, that is what's going to set you apart. And you're going to be not just a lash tech, but a lash artist. And I think that's so much more important.
More, yes,
Yeah.
way more important. A
Yeah.
lash artist, like your clients are gonna know when they come to you that you're gonna give them the best look. You make them feel the sexiest when they come to you.
Yes.
It's a big difference in just putting lashes on there and then actually styling.
Yeah.
Lashes for
It's
your
just
client.
like when you go get your hair done.
Mm-hmm.
They tell you, like, I want platinum blonde. And they're like, okay, wait a minute, just a second.
That's not the best for you.
Girl, your hair's gonna fall off.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Burn it right off. So.
And that applies to lashes, guys. A lot of you guys, want mega volumes 18 through 18. You know what I mean?
And
I'm
everything
like,
isn't for everybody. If you
girl,
have weak brittle lashes, like
yeah.
also that I feel like also sets me apart as well. I am really big on lash health.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
not giving everybody the same thing and letting them know like, hey, this is not going to be the healthiest for your lashes. I don't go over certain lengths for my clients.
Yeah.
I don't put certain weights on certain clients if they can't handle it. That's just to me that's a plays a really big part in
It does play
being
a
a
really
lash
big
artist
part.
because your clients need to know that
Yeah.
their eyes are safe with you.
Right. And you know what? There's a lot of lash artists out there that are doing the 30s in length. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And, kudos to you if you make them look amazing. But that's not really contributing to their lash health because I have seen the aftermath of that.
Yeah, with they're bald in spaces.
Yes,
They're super
exactly.
fine and super brittle.
So right now, your client may have a very thick lash line. So you're like, I can do it on her.
Mm-hmm.
I can do really long lengths on her and give her a extra mega volume on her.
Mm-hmm.
But I promise you, 1 year from the date you gave her that mega volume of her continuously getting that mega volume, you're going to start seeing
Thinning of her lash line.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And you can actually cause permanent damage.
Yeah. And hairs will not grow back.
I have heard people say, well, it's just going to cause, premature damage. It's just going to take a really long time for them to grow out. But I'm like, no, I have seen permanent damage.
Permanent damage, yeah.
And I'm just like, dang, like, ugh.
It's so sad.
It's so sad.
Yeah, so I take pride in not putting
Yeah.
everything on everybody. To me, Mega Volume was really originated for clients who did not have a lot of natural lashes and had spaces, and they needed to have some of those hairs cover up their spaces on the hairs that can't be lashed if they were too fine. And now we've kind of turned Mega Volume into something that it really was never meant to be.
It's just very dramatic. Somebody wants a very dramatic
Yeah.
look. And for me, mega volume used to be more for events.
Right.
Because
the dark lash line,
yes,
the drama,
Because let me give you guys a real quick tip. If someone is doing a photo shoot, a classic set will not show up in pictures.
No.
It really won't.
No.
Well, it can to an extent if they have a lot of lashes and up close photo shoot.
Yes. A lot of natural lashes and up close photo shoot.
Yeah, would definitely show up.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have clients taking pictures like fall pictures in the woods with their kids,
right,
it's not going to show up.
It's not going to show up. They might need a little more of a hybrid or
a volume.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so to me, mega is either like very dramatic look for an event, or for some type of photo shoot that they're trying to achieve. You know what I mean? For a look. But it's not for everyday wear.
No.
It really isn't.
No, it's
and
not.
We've made it everyday wear.
Yeah, we've made it
everyday wear. And I don't mind that. Some of you look really cute in it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It looks amazing on a lot of you. I love it. But just to know that it's not the healthiest for you.
Yeah, it's not the healthiest for your eyes, especially if you're getting like every single lash lashed with the
Mhm.
mega volume. I mean, that's still like, it's the lightest one because it's what, point oh 0.03, have you heard about the point oh 0.02? Like they're
Yes, the
coming out
Lash
with point
Supply
oh 0.02
has
now?
it
Point
now.
oh 0.02?
Yes, they just brought it out point oh
Stop
0.02.
it.
Yes.
Oh, I have to go check it
The
out.
Lash Supply has point oh 0.02, so it's a very, very light. I'm using those
Okay.
on some of my girls that do want the mega volume and volume.
I'm going to check them out.
Yeah, I've even used them on some light volumes
Okay.
because there are some girls that want a natural look, but don't want too full but not too
So
light.
they don't want all their lashes lashed? Is that what it is? So you just want the
Yeah.
O2, like
The
to put
oat,
more hair
well,
fans in there?
they don't have enough of a lash line for classic,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Like it's gonna look really stringy on
Right,
them.
right.
And so I kind of move it up to a light volume, and so it looks very full but very natural,
Mm-hmm.
and it's still very light for them, so that it doesn't cause any damage.
Okay.
Right? It's 0.02 is the lightest lash right now.
Oh, I can't wait to try
Oh
it
girl, you gotta
out.
try it. I
Yeah,
love it. I love it. Love it. Love
I'm
it.
excited.
But anyway, yeah. So it's not very good for your natural lash. I always tell people we can still give you drama without giving
Without
you a
giving a mega
mega.
volume.
And mega volume also doesn't always mean long lengths. A lot of
Right.
people think that. And shorter lengths are still lighter. So you can have a mega volume and have a shorter
Yeah,
length.
12 or 13,
Yeah.
and it'll still look full
It
and
will look
fluffy. I really like
amazing. Yeah,
the
I
short
really like
volume.
the short volume
Those
looks.
can be used maybe more for our everyday look, but the
Yeah.
18 through 23
That's what we're talking
mega
about.
volume is a little crazy.
Yeah.
Those are good because well now there's a
Yeah.
lot of like the bottle girl, the nightlife.
Yes.
So those girls that have to
Absolutely.
like wear makeup every day or 5 days out the week,
Yeah.
that's who pretty much comes and get those
I
mega volume, I
totally
believe.
get that because they want to set themselves apart in their industry
Right.
and look like, at a different level. They have to have the dramatic lashes, the beautiful hair, the makeup, they have to look made up. And so I totally get that. And so we do have some girls. I have girls in the industry as well that come
Yeah.
get their lashes
That's usually
done.
the ones who I feel like are getting those like
Yes.
super mega volume.
Uh-huh.
That are long and like that are the ones that are in like the nightlife industry.
Yeah, a lot of them are.
Yeah.
But again, your mega volume sets don't have to be super long to be mega
They
volume.
don't have to be super long.
And they still look really nice and classy.
Really pretty. Mm-hmm.
Like so beautiful. And the shorter the length in mega volume, the healthier that's going to be.
For the client.
Healthier, not the healthiest.
Right.
Right.
So I was saying, yeah, because you're using like point oh 0.03 or point oh 0.02 in the mega volume, you like just because you're using more hairs, I mean those weights add up.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're using 30 hairs of a point oh 0.03, I mean it's adding up to a point oh 0.05, a point oh 0.07 eventually on one hair.
So you got to really focus on the natural lash line. Can this client take this 0.05 fan that I'm making?
Right.
Do I put 7 hairs? Do I put 3 to 5? You're never going to really count it, but you're going to try to keep that consistency
But you're going to be able to tell, like, is the base too thick for it to be placed on this lash?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay, then if the base looks too thick for their fine lash, let me take some of these hairs out. And really just working with it. Also, like using classic. I think I started out off using 0.20, but as
Me too. Like once I switched over from the pots,
right,
I just grabbed 0.20 trays and I thought I could use that on everybody.
Right. No, I actually don't like using 0.20 at all for classic anymore. I am
either.
a 0.15 girl. To me, it's healthier. I have been giving some of my clients classic sets for 2-3 years, and their lashes are still
definitely
full and
healthier.
healthy. So yeah, that's a tip right there. I wouldn't even use 0.20 really.
You know what I use? I use a 0.20 flat lash now because it's so light.
I have to, you know what? Because what is it? The ellipse and then the flat.
Yeah.
So tell me about the flat. Tell me about the
So the flat, instead of it having like you can't really tell,
right?
But
By
you kind of can. But it has a round base and then it tapers out, right? Like a natural lash it has a round base, but the flat lash is like flat like paper, and then just goes out into a thin base.
Okay, instead of like round.
Yes, but you can't really tell.
Okay.
Before a long time ago, when flat lashes came out, they were a thicker square base, and I was like, I hate them. I don't like them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think they've improved. A lot of different companies have improved that, and they're so thin you can't even tell that they have the flat base until you like really start inspecting them. But a 0.20 in a flat lash is actually lighter than a regular 0.20 classic. Try it. You're going to love it. And another difference between that is that a flat lash, Well, in the Lash Supply brand is what I'm talking about. Has more of a matte finish. And you
Okay.
know how a lot of our classic lashes have more like a
Glossy.
glossy finish?
Yeah.
And so some people like that glossy finish. They like it, but I find that the flat lash is matte. It looks more natural. And when they do this to a classic, it still feels a little stiff, but on a flat, it feels very natural.
Very okay.
And I feel like my retention is so much better with it.
With
I
the
don't
flat
know why.
lash,
Yeah.
I'll have
Try
to try it
it.
out.
Try it. I really
I was
like
just
it.
reading something about that, so
Yeah,
maybe
I
I should
really,
try it.
really like. I used to do a lot of classic sets, and like you, I did 20s,
Mm-hmm.
and then I switched to like point 18, and I tried point 14, and I really liked the 14s and the 18s on some people, but when I switched to flat, I was just like, oh my God, this is the thing. You
So
know
the
what I
flat
mean?
point 20.
Yeah,
Okay.
a flat point 20. It's much lighter than a regular point 20.
Okay, I'm gonna have to
You'll
try it
really
out.
notice a difference.
Okay.
And what I've also used the flat lash for is making hybrid spikes, hybrid wispies
Mm-hmm.
with the flat lash. It just
Okay.
shows up more
In the set, like,
in a
because usually
hybrid
the
wispy.
volume kind of covers those classics.
Yeah.
Okay.
So usually when we do spikes, we take some volume lashes and put a couple of hairs in a spike,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But on some hybrid sets, um, not only could you just make it hybrid, which is a mix of classic lashes and fans, but you can make a hybrid wispy set. And instead of using the classics that are a little longer in between the fans, you can use the flat lashes and it just shows up so much more. And they come in different curls. So
Okay.
it's super cool. You may want to try it.
Yeah, I want to try it out.
Yeah.
I might have to give it a
It's
try.
really, really cool. But you're so like on point with your styling. What other tips do you have for beginner lash techs that are like, you guys have to do this? Like it's a game changer.
Um, I would say for beginner lash artists, honestly, focusing on getting that muscle memory first and
Yeah,
foremost,
for sure.
and just being very repetitive. So getting as many models as in as possible first and foremost, because mapping and styling really didn't come until after I got my movements down packed,
Yeah, that's
because if
true.
you're worrying about mapping, styling, movements, tape, like everything all
Your
at once,
time, your
it's
everything.
it's kind of too much. So I feel like one thing at a time,
Yes.
once those things become down packed where you feel like, lashing is kind of like second nature for you,
Hmm.
and you're down to, I guess, for a beginner, 3 hours would be like a good for a full
Yeah, I
set,
think
right?
it's really good. I think, 3 to 4 hours is pretty normal for you to take as a beginner. It
Mm-hmm.
happens. Don't rush on your time. Give the customer quality work because you want to be fast like your neighbor here, but then you do horrible work and your customer's like, I hate you, my
Right.
eyes hurt. You know what I
Right.
mean? And it's
They'd rather you
you
do
feel worse when that
quality.
happens.
Yeah. Even
Yeah.
though it took a little bit longer, but you really took your time. It's neat.
Speed will come
Yeah,
in
speed will
time.
come in time. I mean, when
Mhm.
you start getting booked and you have 6 clients and you don't have a choice but to be done at a
Yes,
certain time,
exactly.
then okay,
Yeah,
that will pick up.
absolutely.
But other tips I have for mapping and styling for the beginner lash artist, just researching. Find someone that like as a that's a
Mhm.
more advanced than you
That's very
are,
true.
and mimic their work
Find
on your
inspiration.
clients. Find some inspiration.
Yeah.
Mimic their work. Practice. They're usually
Yeah.
9 times out of 10 nowadays. Everybody's kind of giving you a little information on the curls they used
Yeah.
and like the set they used on the
Take
client.
advantage of that.
So take advantage of it, and yeah, find you a muse. Best find you someone who you can, copy basically, but not really copy because you're gonna add your own twist
Yes,
on everything.
absolutely.
But yeah, find that person that you inspires you, and then go from there. I think that would be the first and the best thing as a beginner lash artist to
Yeah.
do.
I think that's a really good idea is following those people that have those sets that inspire. You're like, "Oh my God,"
Yeah, it's
and not
like,
just
oh,
passing them up.
yeah,
Like, "I can't do that." Figure it
no,
out. A lot
figure
of
it
people
out.
give you free game.
Free game. There's so much free game on the
Yeah,
internet.
they give you free game.
Yeah, buying the ebooks now. People, when I was started off, they didn't have
They didn't
ebooks,
have ebooks at
no
all.
mapping styling
Yeah, I
ebooks.
mean, I had to kind of learn it as I went.
I literally had to stalk people.
Yeah,
So
I had to just kind of like do stuff on my clients without telling them.
Yeah,
I
basically
honestly
be
did.
like, oh, I just wanted to try this out. Yeah, that's exactly
Yeah,
what I
I
did.
swear when I started learning different like mappings, I was just like, oh, by the way, I didn't do a cat eye this time. I did a doll. I hope you like it. And I was just like, oh
Right.
my God, please like it. Please
Please like
like
it. And 9 times out of 10 they do. With lashes,
They did.
I can honestly say that people are not as picky
Yeah.
when they get off the table. I mean, as long as they look good, pretty much.
Yeah,
Like,
9 times out of 10, like you said,
they're not.
they'll like it, especially if you are styling correctly. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Sometimes you got to take that chance.
Even if it's different and you're like,
Yeah.
okay, I tried something different today. And 9 times out of 10, if they've already been to you 2 or 3 times, they trust you.
Yes,
Oh, it's
they do
different.
trust you.
It's probably, it looks
Mhm.
good, girl. I don't care.
Yeah.
So take advantage of that.
Yes.
You know?
Same thing with textured sets. I remember doing texture set without telling them, even though they wanted a volume, and they're like, "Oh my God, I love this," and I'm like,
Yes.
"Yes."
Yeah. I mean, because the lashes aren't permanent, they do fall off.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
like, just having that, oh, girl, like, yes, I think this is going to look so good on you.
Yes.
And if you don't like it, oh my God, we could take a few off. Or just
Yeah.
being very, like, understanding and,
Yes.
patient with the
Yeah.
client. And they're going to be patient with you and
So
understanding.
tell me, let's give our viewers a little bit of basic information. Give us two different eye shapes that you would style a certain way.
So a
Like
more
not going into like advanced, but something very basic for them.
Okay, yeah. A more mature woman, all to me in general, most mature women, they have like a little droop at the end of their eye. So I would always use open eye for a mature woman. Short open eye, no more than like 13, longer in the middle, and then we're going to go shorter in the corners around like 9, 10, 8, 9, 10 in the
Yeah, definitely.
front. We could do 12, 13 in the middle, and then we're going to bring it back down to like 10, 11 on the ends.
Yeah.
That for a more mature woman, every time is going to spruce up their eyes.
Yeah, definitely. I have seen that's one of the biggest styling mistakes that beginners make because I've seen it so many times with mature women. They try to give them a really deep cat eye.
Yeah.
And it just makes them look older and it brings this
and
down because it
droopy.
sags here.
Yes.
And instead of giving that lifted effect here, you're doing it here. And so they look older. You're not opening the eye.
Yeah.
And that is a really good tip. So pay attention to that. When you have more of a mature client and they have that, droopiness already here or their skin here is a little droopy, you don't want to give them anything that projects downwards. Like you want to bring it back up. So go and look at Brittany's stuff. You know what I mean?
Lashed on once again. And I'll be doing a lot more too, tutorials on mapping and styling.
Yeah.
But there's a lot on my page already that you can
Definitely.
see.
I always, when I do my classes here with the Lash Supply, I give you guys two basic eye shapes. And I tell you, this is not like 100% with every client. It's going to depend on their face shape as well. But I'm like, to start somewhere, look at least what type of eye shape they have and determine at least whether it's almond shaped or round. Right? If you have more of a round eye, then most of the time you're going to be safe to give them a cat eye.
Yeah.
But if they already have an almond eye, unless they want that sharp cat eye,
it's going to make their eyes a little more
yes,
slanted and closed.
then give them a doll eye.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So kind of do the opposite to begin with, to start somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So I think that like I always tell them, it's somewhere to start, right? If you're not the best at styling, because like you said, you're concentrating on your beginner skills. It's too overwhelming sometimes.
It's so overwhelming.
Yeah,
I
start somewhere.
Yeah, would cry in the back of a set. I'd be like, oh my God, this girl, listen, now I'm about to quit. She's only gonna have one eye.
Yes, I know. It can be crazy.
Definitely could be frustrating. But
at the beginning, I know I have done this, and you guys, I promise you that it works. I've had to do this. I've had to step away from my rolling stool with my tweezers in my hand
and breathe, because this was in the beginning. Oh my God, yes, like definitely. They
can't see you, girl.
They can't see you, but you definitely have to step away and be like, let me pull it together.
Yes.
Because I'm about to start throwing the tweezers.
Because I'm frustrated.
Yeah, I'm about to start throwing the tweezers across the room.
Yeah.
So definitely doing that.
You have bad lash days. You're going to have bad lash days. I've been in the game for a really long time. I have bad lash days.
Yeah,
where I'm like, what the hell did I just do? Like, that's not my best work.
Yeah.
What is wrong
or
with
you're just like
me?
so ready to just be done,
Yeah.
like you're just impatient with
Sometimes I
finishing a
blame the moon
scent.
phases. I don't know.
Yeah, it does play a part. It really
So,
does.
so I've had days where I'm just like bumping into everything. Does that happen to you?
Yes.
Does
Yes.
it?
Yes. And I'm like, or when I'm like, I'm just like, I can't find anything in my drawers. So
Yeah.
I'm like rummaging through stuff while the client's laying there. I'm
You're like,
loud. I'm
this is
like,
not me.
okay,
Like, what is
I need to
wrong
go
with
home.
me? Yeah.
I need to go home and
Girl,
start
I
over.
almost fell twice in front of a customer. Like, I almost fell, caught myself, and then almost fell again. And I was just like, this is so
Yeah,
embarrassing.
I've
What
been
is wrong
bumping
with
into
me?
like bumping my hips into the table and just
Yes.
all types of stuff. You're
I
like,
bumped my cart completely one time and it all fell over while the
oh
customer was laying there.
no,
And
and
I
it
was
was
just
so
like,
loud, huh? Oh my
yes,
gosh.
everything was just like,
And that's so it's kind of like embarrassing because
yeah.
you're like you're here to relax, and then I'm over
I'm
here like
sorry. And I'm like,
causing
I'm
a
sorry. I'm sorry.
frenzy.
And they're like, are you okay? And
You're
I'm like,
like,
it's okay. I just bumped into everything.
barely.
Yeah, those were one of the days when I was just like, what is the moon phase? And it said something about like your equilibrium or I don't know, something. And I was just
You're
like,
like, yep, that's the problem.
that I'm just going to blame it on the
I'm gonna
moon
blame it
phase
on that.
because I
It
don't know what
definitely
the hell
does.
else is wrong with me.
It definitely does play a part. I'm not
But, definitely have patience with yourself, right?
having that's the most
Yeah,
important part is having
absolutely.
patience and giving yourself grace, but also don't give yourself too much grace. Like give yourself grace, but be hard on yourself. Like be your
Yeah,
biggest critic. You know what I'm saying? Because
absolutely.
no, everybody else. I mean, especially if they're not entrepreneurs, they're gonna be like, "Oh, you're doing great," and
They don't
they don't
understand.
understand that there is a lot
Yeah,
of work that goes into
there
entrepreneurship,
is.
and you have to be disciplined. You're not going to always be motivated, but you have to put that work in
You do.
if you want to get somewhere.
I tell every class I give, I tell them nobody is going to hold your hand and take you to the money.
No.
You have to do that yourself. And I say if your bed feels too good to get up because you have no clients today and you lay there all day long, what are you really doing? You should be working on something business
Something,
related.
yeah, trying to
Yeah.
there's
Trying to
some
bring clients in.
right. TikTok is such a big way to bring in clients now. I
Yeah.
mean, dropping the right video, it could go viral, and that could be
Right.
like the start of like your business being
Exactly.
successful again, or whatever the case may be. So just constantly um, working on new ideas and
Yeah.
planning and trial and error. It's all about trial and error, seeing
Yes.
what works.
With
'Cause
styling, it's trial and
with
error too.
styling is trial and error,
Yeah.
and because the right thing, you might style the right thing once, and you take a video of it and post
You're
it,
like,
and it might go
oh, yeah,
viral, and that might
that's
get you
very
booked and
true.
busy for the rest of the month.
Absolutely.
So just always being having a positive like mindset about it, like this could be it, this could be the thing that changes the game, like
Yes,
and because it really only takes one thing, one
it
person really
really
to
does.
see
Yep,
the content, and that one person can change your whole like
that's very true.
direction of where your business is going.
Mhm.
So just staying positive
Yes,
and disciplined, honestly, and just
I agree
keep
with that,
your eye
guys.
on the prize.
Yes,
Find a goal with your business and
yes,
keep your eye on that prize.
absolutely. Brittany, it was such a pleasure having you
Oh,
on the
thank
show. I hope
you.
that we see more of
Yes,
you.
you definitely will.
Maybe we can come back someday and kind of do demos on some
I would
styling.
love to.
I think that would help you guys so much. If there's anything that you want to see on the show from Brittany, I mean, if you just even want to thank her for some advice, put it in the comments. Don't forget to follow us because we're going to have so much more amazing content to come. And of course, more guests like Brittany. I think they make such a difference on our show because it gives you so much inspiration, so many tips, so many tricks, like so much info, so much free game.
So much free
So
game.
much free game.
Take advantage of that free
Yes,
game.
take advantage of that. But again, guys, hit that bell, like this video, subscribe, and thank you again to our sponsor, the Lash Supply. They are so amazing and so graceful with us. Like we just want to thank them so much. And again, we will see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.
Good.